They grabbed all the best aspects of them, from having a really good combat to also having dope gadgets. There's romance, there's even detective work that actually lends to the overall aesthetic of the story, man. But this movie had really dope storylines from multiple different characters. I think Robert Pattinson did a really good job, not only just looking the part, right? We finally get a young Batman that has still room to grow. Now, don't get me wrong, there was definitely some moments in this movie where things just didn't add up from a plot standpoint and just a practicality standpoint. For the world that they were able to build within this 3 hours, I think they did an amazing job. What's going on, team? It's your boy G from Gelato Reviews, and today's episode of the G Files, we are going to be reviewing The Batman. Now, I'm super excited for this because not only do we have this amazing mic that got gifted to me, shout out moms, you know what I'm saying, but we also have a new little setup in the background. So things are changing, things are growing, and I'm super excited to continue to bring this content to you guys. I got a lot of stuff in the works, more collabs on the way, but today we're here to talk about The Batman. So let's get right into it. All right, so let's get some formalities out the way, man. The Batman is literally The Batman. Like, this was, I don't want to say it's like the perfect Batman movie, because to me it's not like the best Batman movie I've ever seen, but it's definitely up there because Bruce Wayne, or Batman, is such a complex character and he has such a great backstory. Not great in the sense of like everything was amazing, but like there's just a lot when it comes to how they choose to create this film. They grabbed all the best aspects of them, from having a really good combat to also having dope gadgets. There's romance, there's even detective work that actually lends to the overall aesthetic of the story, man. But I think the most important aspect of a Batman movie is for it to be dark, right? Because not only Gotham, but Batman has a tragic story. Now, one thing that I kind of wasn't hoping for when it came to this movie is them wasting time retelling us how Bruce Wayne became the Batman by showing his parents being killed. I think that the initial twist, the movie not necessarily being centered around a boy losing his father, but adding little nuances and little pieces of lore that we got over the course of the movie to bring things full circle, because everybody knows Batman, everybody knows the story of Batman, but the way that you make a Batman story stand out is that you get into the storyline. So this movie had really dope storylines from multiple different characters. Not only do we have the Bat and the Cat and Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne, but we got a Black Jim Gordon. We even have a Penguin, so for all the different characters that are a part of this film, they all serve a different purpose. Some were used better than others. From an antagonist standpoint, Falcone versus the Penguin, I think the Penguin was a better showing than Falcone. Falcone for me didn't really give me that mob aesthetic. I don't know what it was about this version, but it just didn't hit for me. But from a visual standpoint, the Penguin didn't really give me those vibes either, but the attitude was there, the viciousness was there, and he gave me way more Penguin vibes than the actor for Falcone did. So that's just my take on it. But let's be real here, the real stars of the film obviously was Zoe Kravitz and Robert Pattinson as the Bat and the Cat. Their relationship grew throughout the film. There were definitely some awkward moments just because it's Bruce Wayne, right? He's not the most talkative person. I'm surprised at the amount of lines that we actually got from him, especially when he was dressed up as the Batman. But I think Robert Pattinson did a really good job, not only just looking the part, right? We finally get a young Batman that has still room to grow, but also just from a mood standpoint. I think that the smoke for Alfred in the beginning of the movie was a little unwarranted. Like, he didn't have to push that button. You didn't have to use the "you're not my father" line like 2 seconds into the movie. But we all understand where Bruce is coming from, obviously, but it was just a little weird when it first initially happened. I was just like, what? You didn't even have to do all that. We get it, you're moody, you know what I'm saying? But I think when it comes to Zoe Kravitz and portraying Selena Kyle, she did an amazing job to just provide that aesthetic and also helped move the story along, because her storyline was probably one of the more dynamic when it comes to just, reveals, with a surprise twist when it comes to her backstory that I'm not necessarily sure if it's specifically canon, but I think it fit the movie well. And from like just a stunt standpoint, she did a really good job when it came to all the different action scenes and just embodying the Catwoman aesthetic. Now, don't get me wrong, there was definitely some moments in this movie where things just didn't add up from a plot standpoint and just a practicality standpoint. One of the more egregious moments was when Batman and Catwoman met up at the end of the movie, where, so apparently he snuck up on her, but, when they go to leave, his bike is 2 feet away. Like, there's no way you don't hear a bike coming and pulling up, and it was just one of those things. It's like, okay, y'all could have did this a little bit better. You was hoping probably people didn't notice, but there was a lot of those different moments within this movie, and that was one thing that I was kind of expecting when going into a 3-hour film. For me, when I see a 3-hour film, bro, I see fluff. This is also one of the rare cases where I think this movie definitely needed the whole 3 hours. I don't think my time was necessarily wasted, but throughout this whole time period, I feel like they tied up everything in a nice little bow, and also left us room to grow for, possibly a future sequel that could come at, any point in time. They even set us up with a dope reveal at the end of somebody who could possibly be the next big villain. That's probably way down the line. Let's keep it current, let's keep it present, and let's talk about Batman's relationship with the police, bro, because that is one thing that, from a plot point, it just was one of those things where I think it was cool to see Batman and the police interact at, a very close level. With this movie, Batman interacts with multiple police officers and also escapes the police precinct. Like that was cool, Batman escaping the police. Like, you always love to see that, but it was just one of those things where it's like, yo, literally we were friends 2 seconds ago. Yo, what's good, y'all? I am pausing this video to let you guys know that we officially have a Patreon. Now, you might be wondering, what the heck is a Patreon? Well, let me lay it out for you. Basically, our Patreon is called the Janatoverse, and in the Janatoverse, you have the opportunity to not only get early content, but also get exclusive Patreon only videos where we're discussing your favorite fandoms and also having dope conversations, bringing all of our communities across the whole metaverse, right? Because that's a thing now, and dropping it all in one place. Now, there are 4 different tiers that you can join. I don't care which one you choose, just know that your support is greatly appreciated. So tap in with us. Patreon.com/Janato. Let's get back to the video. Batman's relationship with the police has always been a sticky situation, but in this film, they took it to another level. We got to see Batman being an actual detective, which was pretty cool. Now, speaking of being a detective, I haven't really talked that much about the antagonist for this film, and that was the Riddler. Now, initially when I first saw the trailer and found out and realized the Riddler was going to be the main villain for this movie, I wasn't really super excited, because the Riddler's not like, the Joker or Bane. He's not a very physical type of menace. He's more of a mental one. I just was a little apprehensive when it came to it, because it meant that we could be taking more of a hands-off approach when it comes to, Batman fighting against the bad guys. And with that being said, I didn't realize until I left the theater and was on my way home that Batman never actually fought the Riddler. He had an argument with him, and they had a cool back and forth towards the end of the movie, but they never actually fought. He's not really a fighter. He just gives you riddles, right? And the riddles in this movie weren't really that crazy to begin with. I think there's been definitely better performances of being the Riddler, specifically in the show Gotham. But just the casting standpoint, when we finally got to see the Riddler's face, I felt the crazy. I felt like I was like, oh my gosh, that's really the Riddler, because the way that he spoke, the way that he broke things down, and just his motive was really good because it brought things full circle for Batman, because at this point in time, you know, Batman man only doing his thing for like 2 years, right? This whole time he's been telling people he's vengeance, but he didn't know what that would also breed, which was the Riddler, his biggest fan. So, and with that being said, I thought that was a cool way to, you know, finally connect the two, you know, that being Batman and the Riddler. Granted, they never actually got a chance to fight in this, which, you know, I kind of wish that they did, but for the world that they were able to build within, you know, this 3 hours, I think they did an amazing job, because they made multiple characters take a look at themselves. They made them look at their own reflection. And like I said, man, this movie definitely needed that whole time to actually bring all the storylines together so we can get those moments. Like, that was a complete Batman movie. Like, man, they finally did it right, you know? And it also, like I said, leaves us open for more sequels and just continue to build on the world, because I think Batman itself has enough characters and enough villains to keep this thing going. But overall, man, I gotta say I definitely enjoyed this movie. I don't know if I would say I want to go back, you know, to the actual theaters to watch this again. When it comes out on streaming, I'm definitely going to tune in again just to see if I'm really still feeling the same way, you know. So that's all I really got for this review, man. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm giving it a 94 out of 100 G-File score. Yes, it's not a 10, right? It's not 100. You know, early on when the movie first was getting reviewed and it was pushing out these scores, these joints was out the water, right? But I think that this movie was definitely one of DC's better ones, but it wasn't a 10. It wasn't 100, bro. But it's still up there. It's still definitely up there. But you know, that's just my take on it. If I got a chance to see it again, who knows what the score might be. But as of right now, that's all I really got. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smack that like button down below for your boy. It really helps the channel reach more people, man. And I really, you know, need y'all support, and I appreciate everything y'all done this far. And I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one, man. Y'all be easy. Y'all know the vibes. Always keep growing. See you guys. Be your boy G. I'm gone. Peace.